Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and a lot of you have had some questions about the stock market. And it's interesting because despite the fact that you're seeing all kinds of crazy headlines about new cases of the virus, the stock market keeps going up. You keep making money. I'm going to explain a little bit more of that to you in 1 second. So uh, let's get it cracking here. Okay, guys, what's going on? Put your hashtag B1 in the chat. You guys know that I'm not a finance professor who just happens to be black. I'm a black man who just happens to be a finance professor. But my PhD is real and my knowledge is strong. So let's get it. Let's get it on. Hey, Enrique and Papo Nea and Twin Pyramid and Zeus and Perry and everybody else. Put your hashtag B1 in the chat if you're black first. On this platform, we are black first. We are built for black people. You ain't got to be black to be here, but you got to know what the rules are. You got to know what matters. Our community matters first. We are important in our own lives. Black lives matter. All black lives matter. Black money matters. Black wealth matters. Black children matter. Black fathers matter. Black women matter. All of y'all matter. All right, so let me jump into this. Here's the deal, right? So the stock market is doing really well right now. A lot of you are still making money hand over fist. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you're making money. I assume most of you are. If you're not making money this week, then that probably means your portfolio is out of balance. That means that you're not investing in the right way. And we have basic rules and templates on how to structure your portfolio where you can minimize volatility at the same time take advantage of the uptrends in the market. So if you're not making money this week, then something's probably wrong. Maybe you're over leveraged, maybe you're under diversified, or whatever the case may be. But either way, you can go to firstsharestock.com to get free information from the Black Business School on how to become a better investor. So and I did a video yesterday on the Black Financial Channel, or what was it, Financial Juneteenth? I can't remember. We have two financial channels, where basically I broke down in 3 minutes how a person can become a millionaire on autopilot. It's based on my $5 a day investing model that actually allows you to accumulate $1 million before you're done with basic, simple investing that even a 5-year-old can do. I'm not kidding when I say this. I'm not joking. Again, my PhD is real. I'm not just a guy who's out here just feeding you a bunch of nonsense. So basically right now, the big conversation topic for the market is still the virus and the number of cases. That's the thing that everybody's talking about, right? I mean, you're getting these shutdowns and everything else, and I would tell you, honestly, the people that make money sometimes they can appear to be heartless bastards because they're not as emotional and caught up in the fear of what's happening. They're just sort of looking at what's occurring so they can position themselves to be successful. So basically, the big thing that people are looking at with the virus cases is how this is going to impact business shutdowns. Are people going to lose their jobs? Are businesses going to just die out? And it's especially dangerous because your wonderful politicians were not able to strike a deal on the stimulus package, which would have saved many of these businesses. A lot of these businesses wouldn't have failed if the government had stepped up and done their job. But businesses are going to fail largely because not because of the virus, but because the virus will cause the shutdown. Because you've got this vaccine on the horizon, but it's going to take a long time for the vaccine to come out. So here's what's going on in the stock market, right? You might get the impression if you watched what's going on in the stock market, you would get the impression that the stock market doesn't care about the pandemic, right? The stock market is just so caught up in making money. People get mad when you're like not in the struggle and you're not broke, right? So they're like, "Oh, you dirty capitalists! You dirty capitalists don't care about human life. All you care about is money. Black lives matter. All you care about is money." Well, you know what? Sorry, I need money to feed my kids, and you need money to feed your kids, and I want people to keep their jobs so we can all feed our kids. I can't feed my children with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter has never shown up at my house with a plate of food for my children. So as much as you want to get excited about, white folks painting Black Lives Matter on the street, I'd rather talk about what's really going down so that we can understand where the money's at, so we can position ourselves in order to win and be successful and take care of our families. So basically, what's really happening is kind of a fascinating thing. The stock market is not an animal that reacts to what's happening right now. The stock market reacts to what is happening now in conjunction with how it balances out with what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen the next day, what's going to happen the day after that, what's going to happen a year from now, what's going to happen 5 years from now. So the reason that it's kind of strange that we're getting all these new infections and the world seems to be collapsing, and the stock market keeps going up is because the stock market is built on expectations. The stock market is looking around the corner. The whole world is looking at what's right in front of us. The stock market. Remember, I told you guys. I explained to you all when we did our stock market investing weekend. I put together the acronym of OPP to explain what it means to be an investor and wealth builder. OPP stands for, it doesn't. It's not the other OPP. OPP for us stands for opportunity, patience, and perspective. Opportunity, patience, and perspective. So basically, stock market investors, they spot opportunities no matter what the economic conditions are. They have lots of patience. They can plant their money and wait and let the seed grow. And most importantly, specifically to this example, is they have perspective. So the stock market is saying, okay, yeah, we got a lot of new cases. There's going to be some shutdowns. There's going to be some money lost. Some businesses are going to die. And even worse and saddest, some human beings are going to die. But in a year, this too shall pass. In 1 year, this company that's now undervalued because of what's going on is going to have an increase in price. So given that they have perspective and they're thinking a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, a lot of investors are still willing to bid solid prices to get in while the prices are low, while the rest of the world is panicking. You're making money. And this is a basic idea. Warren Buffett used to say this. He used to say, be greedy when others are fearful, be fearful when others are greedy. And so this is a perfect example of that. We know the virus is going to go away. We know the vaccine is going to be administered. We know that the world's not going to come to an end. But right now, it kind of looks that way. And it's really sad to kind of observe it, because there are, this is a real thing, right? People really are being harmed by this. I will admit personally, I do wonder. I know that in a lot of places, like I know in my county, they're doing a lot more testing. Like they're testing everybody now, and I really wish that the media would give us infection rates and death rates in addition to just the raw numbers. Like, so if we say there's 100,000 new cases today, we probably couldn't have had 100,000 new cases back in March or April because we weren't testing that many people. Like we're probably testing 100,000 people in every state every single day. So, and I'd be curious to know how many of those people have symptoms and don't, and, things like that. So we can really know what's going on. So we can really protect the people who are most vulnerable, namely senior citizens. If you were to take everybody over the age of 60 out of the pool, you would get a very, very, very low death rate. If you take out the people in nursing homes and things like that, because I specifically looked at the data. I looked at in our county, they actually publish every person who dies from the virus every day, and they give you their age. And a lot of the people were 80, 90, 100 years old. 100-year-old, I don't think 100-year-olds should count as much in the sense that, not that they don't matter, but when you're 100, you can die from a lot of stuff. You're not even supposed to be here anymore. Honestly, your life expectancy, you far outlived that. I was paying more attention to the people under 60 to just see, like, okay, how many productive Americans are being taken out by this thing? And also I'm curious about advancements in treatment. I think there's going to be a race. I think everybody's going to make money on this thing, right? Just keeping it 100. America's a funny country in the sense that no matter what happens, somebody's always going to make money. If the sports becomes really big, somebody makes money off sports. If there's a tragedy, somebody makes money off tragedy. If people get into fitness, there's somebody who's going to make money off fitness. So this vaccine is going to be one of the big money makers of all time. Microsoft's right in the middle of it. I saw a really interesting article today in the Wall Street Journal where Microsoft, which it was real weird. I don't know. Give me a yes or no if you thought it was very strange that Bill Gates was so deeply involved in this vaccine stuff. I was like, Bill Gates, is he a medical doctor? Like, why is Bill Gates in the middle of all this, right? Which feeds a lot of conspiracy theories, which I don't know what's true and what's not anymore. I mean, you can't trust journalists. They used to be trustworthy, but I don't know what's going on now. But anyway, Microsoft warned that one of the big threats to these vaccine makers is cyber attacks from North Korea and Russia. That basically these groups are doing cyber attacks on these companies, and that scared the hell out of me because I said, so like, does that mean they can manipulate the results of some of these trials? You know, when they tell you that the vaccine is 90% effective, like Pfizer did, you know, could a hacker change that number? You know, because these trials, they need this data to know what the effects are. Could hackers go in and do something with the dosages in the vaccines, like, or the contents of the actual, vaccine that people are given? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm reading things too sinisterly, but it does kind of make me wonder a little bit. It makes me worrisome. But anyway, so long story short, here's what's going on in terms of what the market's paying attention to. Right now, cyclical and value stocks are doing really well. Cyclical and value stocks. Value stocks are basically stocks that have had price reductions relative to their market value. Their book value and their market value are way out of sync. And there's a theory that says that some of these stocks are undervalued, underpriced. But that's a debatable theory. Some people say that the reason that the price drops is because the company's riskier, the company's not as good at making money. But then there are others who say that these companies may be mispriced. I believe that some of these companies could be mispriced, and there's some very good analysts who are really excited about certain value stocks. Like, for example, bank stocks. Bank stocks are believed to be significantly undervalued. You have the high-flying tech stocks, but then you have some of these airlines and cruise ships and casinos that have done well. I know I made a killing on American Airlines and stuff like that, and I don't think the killing is done yet. Like, I think that once the vaccine starts being pushed out, I think that's when you're going to really see these companies really pop out and take off. Because right now you're in the middle of fear, and fear for an investor, honestly, when everyone else is spending all the time being fearful, that's when you, in my opinion, should spend your time being strategic, because that's when actually you have the best opportunity to make money. And that's just my 2 cents, though. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Let me mention something to you guys. If you want to do our Black Stock Market Challenge, it's totally free. You can go to blackstockmarketchallenge.com. I know some of you may not be invested at all, which I'm going to tell you, I think it's a huge mistake. If you know anything about my podcast, you know I don't usually tell you people what to do. I believe my job is to be an advisor and to be a guide and support, or a coach or a teacher or whatever it is. But I'm not here to be a black leader, and I'm definitely not here to pressure you and tell you what to do. But this is one of those few areas where I will tell you, if you're not investing consistently in the stock market, I think you're making a huge mistake. That's why I did the video yesterday where I showed you in less than 3 minutes how to easily become a millionaire, which disputes all the nonsense that they give you that says when you're born poor, you have to stay that way. I literally do the math with $5 a day, which is less money than it costs to buy a Popeye's chicken value meal. So if you believe black people can afford Popeye's chicken, then you also must believe black people can afford to invest and have significant amounts of wealth. And it's not even about becoming a millionaire. It's really about becoming financially secure. So I showed you how over a 40-year period you could have $1 million, or 948,000 was the precise number. But really, it's not even about having $900,000. It's about maybe what if you just had $50,000 in liquid cash? What if your family just had $250,000 that you could lean on in tough times? Like, this is not hard to do. Every single black person in this entire country, no matter what their income level, could do something like this, and it would work, because I've seen the data. I've done the research. That's what I did all those years I was at Syracuse University. I know this works. So feel free, if you want to actually kind of get started and kind of mess around and see if you can get better at this investing thing. Blackstockmarketchallenge.com is where you can go. The challenge is totally free. Also, you can text the word BOYCE to 31996 to get notifications when we go live. Last night, we premiered the film Happy, Happy. HAPI is Happy. I think it's pronounced Happy. It's done by the director Taki Grant, and I'm an executive producer on the film. And it's all about how modern economic systems derived in ancient Africa and in parts of Egypt, West Africa, etc., and the Nile River. We go, I mean, all over the globe. He goes to parts of Europe, the New York Stock Exchange, Chicago Board of Trade. Part he goes to the Egyptian pyramids, and it's really an extraordinary film that took years to make. It's the next blockbuster film that's out there. I encourage you to go. Feel free to take a look at it. We're doing a screening on the 21st of November at 7 p.m. You can go to blackmovienight.net if you'd like to get your tickets for the screening. That's blackmovienight.net. There's the URL right there, not .com, blackmovienight.net. So let me dig in a little bit more on the stock market here. Hit the thumbs up button and please share this video if you haven't done it yet. I love being a truth teller, and I know that offends some people, but I can't just say things that are going to make you feel good. I have to say things that are true. And but I think that there are people out there that want the truth. So if you know other people that want the truth, feel free to share this video with them. So here's what else is going on. I mentioned to you guys yesterday that I really like Disney. I did a whole video about Disney, and I'm super excited about Disney because I love companies that have great management teams that know how to pivot. And Disney has done a wonderful job of pivoting into digital streaming as a way to to really deal with COVID. And so now once the economy opens up, once the virus is kind of eradicated and everybody's vaccinated, and it's not about everybody being safe, it's really about everybody feeling safe. Feeling safe is more important than being safe if you're talking about economic decision making and consumer spending and things like that. Because it doesn't matter if people are safe, if they don't feel safe, they're going to act like they aren't safe, right? So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once people start feeling safe, and once the Disney parks start to open, once the live sports begin, where Disney's making a boatload of money, once the movie theaters start opening, where Disney's making a boatload of money, Disney is going to fly. Why? Well, because Disney used the pandemic as an opportunity to conquer two territories. They are conquering the digital space, and they've already conquered the three-dimensional space. They've already conquered the world, right? In terms of all the money that they make from their parks, from their films that they shoot, from live sports, etc. Like they've already got that conquered. They're making money like Pablo Escobar. The digital side was kind of on the back burner. Like that was kind of their economic side chick. That was the thing that they were going to work on in their spare time. Like this was their long-term plan, that they had, like, okay, one day in 10 years we'll pull this around. Well, COVID, forced them to, do what a lot of celebrities did. Like it forced them to go inside and sit down, and they couldn't do the things they were doing before. So they said, okay, well, where can we make our money? Because we're always going to be money makers. Well, Disney poured a ton of money into their streaming services, and it worked. They have 73 million paid subscribers now, which makes them more about, I want to say maybe it's 40% of what Netflix has. Netflix has 195 million. They're going to catch up with Netflix, folks. Like they're going to give them about 3 or 4 years. They're going to be at 100 million next year. The projections are maybe 95 million or whatever. No. The projections are wrong. Mark my word. A year from today, I believe Disney is going to cross 100 million paid subscribers. They're going to exceed earnings expectations, and that stock is going to run like Forrest Gump. Like I think that stock is going to really take off. I love Disney. It's just a quality company. They have smart management. Amazon's the same way. Amazon's just smart. Like they just know how to conquer everything. So I'm really excited about Disney, actually. And we've already made money from Disney. Alicia and I bought stock in Disney. We like to use Disney and Starbucks and McDonald's and companies like that to explain stock investing to our kids. So if you're looking for a way to get your kids interested in investing, I encourage you to, if you take them to McDonald's, like maybe pull out your app and buy some McDonald's stock in front of your 10-year-old, and then explain that your 10-year-old is now an owner in McDonald's. Like if you want to get pride in a little black child, tell them that they now own a piece of McDonald's, and like they're literally going to be super excited. I don't know about y'all, especially the girls get into it too. But I've noticed, like with the little boys, like little black boys, because everybody hates. I believe the whole society kind of hates black men. They blame black men for everything, and they constantly attack black men. So black men have to feel really empowered. And also making money is really important for men in terms of us defining our manhood, right? But like the boys sometimes get obsessed. Like they'll get us obsessed with investing as they are with sports. And I just think that's a huge opportunity. So just do that in line, like in McDonald's one day. I did that with our 13-year-old, and it led to a great conversation. It was actually Starbucks. We weren't in line at McDonald's. We were in line at Starbucks. And she was just kind of fascinated that I could buy us shares in Starbucks, like while we're in line waiting for her little fruity drink or whatever it was that her friends told her that everybody was drinking. And also, we have financial workbooks. There's the URL if you want to go take a look. We designed those for Black kids. So feel free to take a look at financialworkbooks.com. We have flashcards there as well. So feel free to take a look at that. The other piece here's another little piece of economic news that's really got my attention. Donald Trump, that guy in the White House who is gonna have to be evicted. They're gonna have to go. They're gonna have to send the marshals to the house and put his shit on the front lawn. Donald Trump is not trying to leave that White House. I honestly, I'll just say, as a fan of smooth transitions of power, I would really like to see Trump go ahead and concede. But the fact that he's not conceding, I think, makes this really interesting. I'd really be curious. I wish I could be a fly on the wall to hear the conversations that are happening behind closed doors, um, regarding, what's going on constitutionally, the legal challenges, what's really going on with the voting stuff. Is this real or not real? I don't know. I mean, there's so many conflicting reports. Like one hand, they're like, oh, there's no voter fraud ever. Voter fraud just doesn't happen. Then there are these other reports like, oh, in this county, they switched 100,000 votes from Republican to Democrat. So I can't wait till a credible source really goes through it and does it. I know in Georgia they're doing a hand count, and that'll be interesting to see the results of the hand count. But here's another thing Trump is doing while he's still in the White House. He is, what he reminds me of, babe? I'm talking to Alicia now. He reminds me of Scarface. Remember where Scarface was in? Was it sitting in his office at the end of the movie? No, I think he was in the hot tub. No. It's the part where at the end where it was over, but he didn't want to admit that it was over, and he had the big pile of coke on the desk. And he was like, "Say hello to my little friend." Yeah, say hello to my little friend. Yeah, I think that I just feel like I feel like this is going to end so bad for Donald Trump. But I think the reason Trump is scared to leave the White House is because Letitia James, the Attorney General out of New York, is lining up like these criminal investigations against him, and so I think that he's afraid of losing the protection of the presidency, because the president has a lot of immunity from that sort of prosecution and all that. When he becomes a regular citizen, I think that's when they're going to almost deal with him almost like a war criminal. Oh goodness. Yeah, and I don't like it though, because I think it sets a bad precedent. Because believe me, I every time the Democrats do something mean, the Republicans come back harder. When the Republicans do something mean, the Democrats come back harder. So it's just creating, a bad, vicious, negative cycle. So anyway, let me go back here. Let me get back. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. So here's the reason I brought up Trump. Actually, you guys know me well enough to know that sometimes I go on little tangents. Hopefully, they're not too bad. They tempt that. I always circle back. I like to claim I'm a big thinker, right? I see all the angles. But one thing about Trump that's going on right now that's really interesting is he actually he actually barred companies from helping companies from China that support the Chinese military, and this caused major disruptions in a lot of major Chinese stocks, and I believe that was linked to the Chinese government the next day publicly congratulating Joe Biden on winning the presidency, because the Chinese government is really angry about this. Like they're really upset, and they don't like their authority to be challenged. And so, this is also reflective of something that I have mixed feelings about. Trump has this continuous obsession with China and pushing a trade war. But he's not a warmonger in the physical sense. Like he hasn't started any wars. I mean, we have wars under Obama and Bush, but none under Trump. But he's definitely big on the trade war, and the trade war is kind of a mixed bag for the United States. There could be a long-term benefit in that we need a better relationship with China when it comes to trade anyway. The Chinese have engaged in what Dr. Claude Anderson refers to in Powernomics as the doctrine of unequal exchange with the United States for a long time. I think that they see Americans as kind of what we are. We're kind of lazy and stupid and, and just and gluttonous. And we just, like the way we educate our kids, they're not ready for the future. When I was getting my PhD, I sat next to some of the smartest students from China and Russia, and they ran circles around us. We felt illiterate next to them, in terms of work ethic. Like for those students, it was like studying 10 hours a day wasn't no thing. Like that's what they did. So I think America is losing that trade battle. So that justifies Trump's, I think hostility or aggression toward China. The downside, though, is that these trade wars, particularly from a guy like Trump, who is not particularly stable, it created a lot of unnecessary volatility in the stock market. It really did fracture relationships globally that are economically costly. They're costly in the sense that when you don't have as much global trade, the wealth of the world starts to drop. Everybody kind of loses when you become overly nationalistic without a clear plan on how that nationalism is really going to benefit you. So Trump, one thing I do actually, I'm a black nationalist, so I probably understand white nationalism. Actually, believe it or not, I don't care about the racism part. I don't care if you don't like black people, if you don't like me as a black man, whatever. I don't like you either. Who cares, right? But in terms of nationalism, do for self, taking care of yourself first, black first. Like that's what the B1 philosophy is. The B1 philosophy is a nationalist philosophy. It's not globalist. Globalism is, we kumbaya, let's all connect and let's all be one and let's all integrate. Well, the problem is that integration, if it's done improperly, becomes disintegration. It becomes humiliation. It becomes an occupation. It becomes an indoctrination. So for black people, integration did not work because we were sucked into something else and we had to become something else in order to fit in. So America's integration with China economically was not, a fair partnership. It was not something where we won a little, they won a little. When we won a lot, they won a lot. No, it was like they won a lot, and we either won a little or we didn't win at all. And so Trump's challenges to China, if they had come from someone that was a little more stable and a little more diplomatic, would have been entirely appropriate for what he was trying to do. So with Biden coming into office, China's ecstatic. China is really excited because they're like, yeah, this is awesome. This guy's going to take things back to the way things were. And I personally was a person who didn't like the way things were. I mean, I can just tell you, there's a reason. Pay attention now. Think about this. China was the laughing stock economically of the world. Economically, they were the laughing stock of the world 40, 50 years ago. Now, China's economy is bigger than ours. Their per capita income is lower than ours. We still beat them on that. But they launched a 100-year plan for world economic domination about 50 years ago, and they're only halfway through the plan. China is kicking your butt. You better have your kids learning Chinese. I got a little niece. My niece is 1.5. Wait, maybe she's 2. I think she's 2. Wait, I gotta check. Damn, I should know these things. My niece, who is somewhere around the age of 2, we pretty much decided that when she grows up, she's learning 3 languages. She's learning English, of course, because she lives in South America. So she's learning English. She's learning Spanish, and she's learning Chinese. And we're going to train her to do business all around the world because the Chinese, if you want to see a real life example of how powernomics is applied in an appropriate way through group economics on a high level, just go study China. Go look at Chinese culture. In Chinese culture, the many is always valued above the individual. They are the premier example of the power of group economics on this planet. If black people did even a fraction of those things, we would become the most dominant economic force in America. We would be beyond where the Jews are, where the Arabs are, where the Asians are, everybody else. So I'm just giving you guys facts. I'm giving you guys, or better yet, the world according to Dr. Boyce, right? So it can be disputed. People can disagree. I'm not saying you have to agree with this. I'm just telling you what I see. So Trump being out of office, one benefit though is that with Biden, even though the relationship with China isn't great, it's stable, almost like a marriage where where if the wife is being abused by the husband, if she doesn't say anything about it, and then there's peace in the house, right? If she stands up, then there's like chaos, right? So the question is, which do you want? Do you want peace at a price, or do you want chaos with a benefit? It's hard to know, right? So with Biden coming back in, and Biden is, he's pretty globalist, right? Open borders, open trade, all that stuff. NAFTA, which actually, unfortunately, NAFTA, because it wasn't regulated properly, it led to massive wealth creation for people like you. When I say people like you, I'm talking about you guys because you're investors. Say yes in the chat if you're an investor. Say yes in the chat. If you say no, then I encourage you, please, please, please start investing. Investors make money in a globalistic economy. They can make money in a nationalist economy. So with Biden going into office, he's a globalist. He's going to facilitate global trade all over the place. Big major corporations will be able to go to any corner of the earth and seamlessly make just insane amounts of money, which will be great for shareholders like you. That's why you should be a shareholder. Where the problem comes in is that capitalism can be just a greedy bastard at times. And the thing about capitalism in America is that your government has been infected by capitalism. It's been impregnated by capitalism. And what happens is that because capitalism got your political system pregnant, your political system is now giving birth to a lot of really ugly babies. And these ugly babies come in the form of, just crazy laws that are really, against the American people, that are not beneficial to anybody except for those who own corporations. They're not beneficial to workers, not beneficial to anybody. So that's the interesting catch-22 of globalism. On one hand, it feels good to say kumbaya, let's let everybody come across the border, let's let businesses do trade everywhere on the planet. But if you don't regulate it properly, then your workers get screwed. NAFTA is a shining example of exactly what happened. That's why you can go to so many cities right now that used to have booming industries in those cities because you had some degree of nationalism that protected those industries. And now those cities are pretty much zombie land. They're pretty much desert, what they call them, desert towns or whatever they call it in the cowboy movies. So anyway, guys, those are my thoughts this morning. Those are my economic thoughts. I hope that this helped you in terms of understanding what's happening in the market. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll share this with you guys. We did a Black Stock Market weekend maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. I'm going to do another one maybe in a month or two live, but we basically covered what I put together in terms of an 11-step methodology that I use to pick stocks. Like this is exactly, I literally broke it down into 11 specific steps that you can follow to know which stocks work best for you. Because buying a stock is a little bit like choosing an outfit. An outfit works for you if it works for you. You have to know your body's shape. You have to know what colors you like. You have to know what occasion you're dressing for. So there's no such thing as a one size fits all. There's no such thing as like, oh, that's definitely a bad outfit for everyone, or that's definitely a good outfit for everyone. It all depends on you knowing what it is you're trying to do and what you actually enjoy wearing. So basically, I put together the 11-step methodology. If you want to go take a look, you can get the recording right there at that URL, theblackstockmarketweekend.com. Everything in the Black Business School has a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. If you're not happy for any reason, we have 130,000 students all around the world, and 96% of them have said that we learned far more from the Black Business School than we ever learned in college. And why is that? Why does that not surprise me? Well, because number one, I've taught on these universities, right? At Syracuse University, where I used to teach, the tuition and room and board included is about $72,000 a year. I think that's too much to pay to learn business. So most of our programs are $3 or $4 a day. Some of them are free. Some of them cost a little more, a little less, but they'll never leave you in debt, which is a big deal. But then most importantly, we are the world leading experts in studying Black wealth, designing specific, unique, patented models designed by experts that are specifically designed to deal with the unique economic circumstances of the Black community. So we are your institution. We were built for you, and we are here to serve you and nobody else. So feel free to go take a look. The blackstockmarketweekend.com is the direct URL to the Black Stock Market Weekend material, but you can go look at anything else in the Black Business School. We have specialists right there in the school that can talk to you about your personal wealth plan and whatever it is you're trying to do. So feel free to take a look there. And also text the word Boyce to 31996, and I'll send you notifications when I go live on Dr. Boyce TV and things like that. All right, guys, I got to go. Have a great day, and I hope this was helpful. And please hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Love you. I'll see you soon. Take care. Peace.